The hockey is Russian and the equipment comes from abroad. That's the situation with this type of sport in this country, where people believe that it was invented in Russia in the early 90s. We had no equipment, no uniforms, no balls to play with. We saw how the remaining stock of foreign balls was melting before our eyes just like ice melts in springtime. This was the starting point for the new homemade balls for Russian hockey. Took the risk to produce them in Russia because no demand could be guaranteed. It was the executive committee of the Russian Hockey Federation that had to have a feel of the ball first. Then it had to be tried by a player with his bandy, and only after all that it could go to a mass production. But the shortage was so high that soon some teams ordered first stocks for trial. Cork is the base for a ball, but much depends on its density. The ball can be made more or less dense, and naturally the weight will differ as well. The more cork is inserted, the heavier the ball is, and vice versa. And as a matter of fact, the less heavy and dense the ball is, the sooner it will break. As a result, because of the technological revolution, favorite phrases of the past were left behind. For instance, braided ball. This phrase is traditionally used to name a recently revived children's tournament, although such balls have gone out of use long time ago. But you wouldn't call it a cork ball. In most recipes, other materials were used as well, such as rope, resins, or any other materials at hand. But in the long run, the Swedes have devised special new balls in a plastic cover, which could hide under it pure cork or wood dust, mixed with cork. And the plastic cover, being much more resistant to hockey adventures than the rope, helped the players with its special bumps. Why is the ball not smooth-faced? Because it must be able to rotate. Well, I know that some of our great players could install huge rotation to the ball. To be frank, I fail to realize how it's possible with a temperature below 15 degrees Celsius to catch the ball, and though it's not wrapped with an adhesive tape, to make it rotate because of the rigid surface. But in principle, there is certain resistance there. For the goalkeepers, it's easier to catch a bumped ball, which sticks better to the gloves. This ball, with 64 millimeters in diameter and with 0.5 millimeters in notches, adds up in 65 millimeters in diameter. And it weighs from 61 to 64 grams. This is a normal tolerance, but we'll try to make it weigh 63 grams. And now how to store the ball. They're used within a short period of time, so there is no need to specify how they should be stored. And it's up to the players to decide, and not up to me. It was worth it. Currently, the Russian Prime League only uses the Russian-made balls. The Swedes, though, keep producing their own balls, which also makes sense. With the time, the ball has changed its color. It has adapted to the modern climate conditions. It owes its color to the legacy of the Soviet times, when shortages existed. It was impossible to find the original paint. But that shortage happened to be helpful. I was offered the color available. I'll show it to you. You see, it's of a bright orange color. So I asked them where my paint was, to which they responded that unfortunately they had not been able to make it. I was quite unpleased and I began to complain. I said, look, the Russian championship is pending. Nevertheless, they insisted on this color. The hockey player Sergei Lomanov said, look here, what is that? Is it a lipstick? But aren't we playing hockey? Those were his words. I told him that there were no other colors. Let us try this one. It's not that bad, it looks pretty good. It's not black, is it? Those balls were taken to the World Cup. But before the Cup, they used them in warm-up matches. The World Cup matches were shown on Swedish TV. There was heavy snowfall, and the Swedish TV men said, Indeed, the ball is well seen when it's flying, both in the snow and everywhere else. That's how this crimson came to be. This is how the new Russian ball put on a crimson jacket, and it is not in a hurry to take it off. An experienced producer's eye will distinguish it from any other color. Later on, the orange color became available as well, but the new shade remained and continued to be used. Sometimes our hockey players make fun of it, but nevertheless they find it good to play with balls of this color. They say that these balls fit well to the stick, but otherwise they do not differ in any way from others. Actually, they are even better. The International Federation Commission has tested our balls the same way as the ones which have been imported on the basis of 20 features and issued a certificate proving that they meet the highest standards. Of course, nothing will withstand the temperature of -37 degrees Celsius, even steel on skates. The balls will burst. There are certain limits. There are somewhere around 26-27 degrees. And even in that case, if they're used in training, they should be warmed up a little bit and offered in batches, because they get frozen and turn hard. And if a ball hits someone, it will cause real pain. Anatomy of the ball. There is a cork wood inside, combined with a certain amount of glue. But it's of no importance to you. It is coated in medical PVC and painted in crimson color.
Стоять.